In this asylum, I run the place. I love the look on your face. In this asylum, I wish you well, 'cause I'll be standing at the gates of hell. We twisted the thoughts of you and me, mixed with twisted imagery. Toxic love affair, and toxic goddamn air.
Hey guys, and welcome to the American Ghost Hunter Show. Tonight we have two very special friends of ours, Shay and Weebs, on the show. Obviously, I'm sure you know both of them from doing stuff on Paranormal Warehouse, Are You Weebs, that other show, and it's just, that's it. Yeah, I was going to say something along those lines, and obviously Annie working on our show as well. And tonight my beautiful wife is also a host. She's upstairs because we're not talking. No, I'm joking. No, she's upstairs because it makes it easier for me to set everything up. So if she's on a separate Skype feed, so there you go.
We're not talking.
Yeah, I know you do. So tonight we have our regular show, and also afterwards we're going to do a special show that is strictly for supporters or subscribers, whatever you want to call yourselves, to Paranormal Warehouse. We're going to have a special game show. That's right. And we've put this together at the last minute, so it's going to be incredibly shit, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I feel
we'll do our best.
confident, actually. I don't know about everybody else, but it's... What he said, I'm not able to hear you guys. Can everybody hear the feed?
Let me just check. Everything should be fine.
Give us a little thumbs up if you can hear the feed there.
There's always one person that can't hear it.
Yep.
There's always one that's on mine too.
Yeah, sometimes, guys, if you can't... what's the point of me saying this? If you can't hear us, close the feed and then open it again. Hopefully you can lip read. So we're going to be talking about all sorts of crazy stuff tonight. I mean, we should not be allowed to all do a show together. But it's happening anyway. So...
favorite thing to do, actually, when the four of us get together, because I feel like everybody watching should have the ability to just listen to our Facebook, like our FaceTimes.
I'm not too sure about
that. No, it's entertaining, if nothing else.
For us.
For us.
So if you guys watching don't enjoy yourselves, we don't care, because we're going to enjoy ourselves. So... deal with it. So, yes, guys. So let's just say hello to some people that are tuning in. So, hello, Kat Young, and hello, Ashley. You are now commenting under the American Ghost Hunter Show, and I know it's you because of
titties.
Yep, that's exactly why I know it's you, Ashley. Hi, Fred. How you doing, my man?
Bitch.
Hi Vicky, Bobby, Cricket, Aaron, Janet, and the rest of you. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any comments, if you want to say how shit we are, feel free to let us know. We'll take it on the chin and then block you, because we won't really take it on the chin. We'll take it really personally, and we'll cry. So, let's talk paranormal. Yeah, because this is what the show is about. And we're going to start off with the very sexual, the very tight, Brendan Shay.
What's up? What do you want to know?
What's up? Well, recently, I don't know too much about it. All I know is that Annie and Shay went off into the woods to try and find a really hairy gorilla. Also
and I came back pregnant.
Also known as Bigfoot. What was that?
I said, and I came back pregnant.
Again?
You sleep with Annie as well.
Did you...
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Babe, I can't afford to, like, drive across country, let alone get a plane across half the world.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, is sometimes they think that Sasquatch or Bigfoot is interdimensional. So you could have took some interdimensional portal, got to the,
I am
Ohio.
nowhere near smart enough to cope with interdimensional travel.
That's a fact.
That's a lot.
I've heard of it, don't know what it is. So, no, I do know what it is. It's when you travel between dimensions. It's in the description, isn't it?
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
So, Shay,
Yeah.
apparently you caught something. Talk us
It's
through
own
it.
fault.
You and Annie,
Yeah.
talk us through it.
I honestly believe, alright, so for those of you who don't know what we're talking about Bigfoot. Here in the United States, we have this big, hairy creature with gigantic feet that they call Bigfoot. And there are Bigfoots all over the United States. And there's one in Ohio that they call the Ohio Grassman. And he's known to be in this area of Ohio that we went to called Hocking Hills. So we rented this cabin in the woods. We went all day looking through the woods. We heard some weird stuff, saw some weird stuff. Then at night, I was talking to my brother on the phone. Annie and my daughter had gone to bed, and I had set a recorder out because coyotes started howling and everything else. I heard this really weird sound, and the coyotes just went dead quiet. So I'm a little,
Okay. Okay, that is weird.
Yeah, so I, start hearing these weird noises. So what do I start doing? I start calling back to my own big.
Okay, so let's time out right here because he's really making this concise, and
Is it me, or is he cutting over the fact that he was really, really drunk?
he's completely going over. So let's start by saying
Here we go.
Shay has this fascination with whatever you want to call him, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. They call him different
skunk
stuff all over. Skunk ape, Grassman, all that kind of stuff.
Momo.
Daryl Marston.
Yes, Momo.
Momo's different. Momo's the guy with the big eyes. Anyway, so he's always said, and he literally lives in this area that is he's in West Virginia now, in this area of Ohio where they have these frequent sightings.
Okay.
And so you can go up there and you can rent cabins. There are thousands of acres. And so I got in touch with, there's so much Bigfoot activity there that they actually have the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Conference every year, the last Saturday, or Friday and Saturday of September. And so I got in touch with one of the ladies who helps run the conference, and she said, I would love to take you guys out, but I'm going to be out of town that weekend. And so she sent me information about this one specific place to go that they call Clear Creek Metro Park. And so it's in Hocking Hills, but just outside of. And so I got us a cabin that was about 15 minutes from there, and I surprised Shay. I have all this footage from the weekend that we want to put together for Serial Spirits eventually. It just hasn't happened yet. And so I surprised him with this Sasquatch adventure. So we basically went out into Hocking Hills, into this park, to search for Bigfoot on our own, having no idea how to do it. We literally just had a map in hand of a place that we knew had all these sightings. And so I describe, I guess, our search during the day.
So we go to all these areas they're really remote. The trails are really remote, and we probably saw maybe a total of 5-6 people the whole day walking on these trails.
It would be a great place to murder somebody.
In fairness, that sounds like heaven.
It was absolutely
yeah.
So the three of us were walking these trails, and it's just some of the trails got really eerie and really weird. There was no wildlife anywhere, so that was one of these clues. Is maybe there's some big predator in this area. There's black bear, there's bobcat, there's reports of mountain lions too. So it could be something like that. But it just was weird, and it was remote. And we walked for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And
Okay, that bit doesn't sound like heaven.
It's a really beautiful area, but you're watching we're walking through this place because it is so remote. We're noticing that we don't find tracks or any type of animals. There are no deer tracks, there are no raccoon tracks, and it's just eerily quiet during the daytime, and it's around all this water. It starts at this place called Lake Ramona that they have had multiple sightings, everything from sightings, tree knocks, people having rocks thrown at them or thrown across the lake. I mean, if you're into Bigfoot research, it's like typical Bigfoot sighting stuff, Class A sighting stuff. And so we start at Lake Ramona, and we find that there's nothing. There's no sign of life anywhere in this enormous park. So we were all kind of like, you know, it could be because of a predator. Does that mean it's Bigfoot?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. It could.
Just Alex.
It was just Alex.
Exactly.
What? I'm hairy.
Where he went. He vanished for like a weekend.
I am not the Sam Squanch. I am not the Sam Squanch.
You are the Sam Squanch.
And I said Sam Squinch, and Shay didn't know what I was talking about. I gotta catch him up on Trailer Park Boys.
Were you worried about the hillbillies? Trying to like...
I forgot about that. No, but we met some really abnormally nice people that had an accent that I could never quite... They came out of nowhere. It was very kind of...
What was that? What did the accent sound like?
Hillbillies.
It sounded
exactly what you meant. It's some hillbillies.
sounded Russian or like.
It was some type of European accent. It was very strange. Anyway, continue. I digress.
So yeah, so we finally finish up and we go back to the cabin and we decide we're just gonna chill in the hot tub. It was my birthday weekend, so I was drinking lots of sodas, road sodas, and I ended up talking to my brother who lives in California for like an hour and a half, 2 hours on the phone, and I started hearing all these weird noises. And
you must have got really pruny.
What did you say?
Were you in the hot tub for like an hour and a half talking to your brother?
He was not in the hot tub.
My friends.
He would have passed out.
I didn't stay in the hot tub that
At least he's got a brother he can call. I just talk to myself.
Yeah, you're lonely. You got no one.
No.
So as you hear, I'm already up in bed. It's like midnight. I'm tired. We've walked all day, and so Shay comes in, and he's freezing cold. Number one, because he's been outside in his underpants for
trying to entice.
For a Sam Squanch, right?
Yeah, he was trying to entice the Bigfoot.
Front porch, and it had this really awesome porch swing. So I was just swinging back and forth in my underwear.
As you do.
But I was wearing underwear, and it got a little chilly out, but I didn't notice it because I was,
Did it shrink?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it never does.
It's always that small.
That's the problem. It already is there. So.
So he climbs in bed, and he's freezing. And he curls up to me, and he goes, "I heard something out there." And I'm like, "What did you hear?"
Sounds like what? So far, it sounds like one of the worst horror films ever made.
It was, yeah.
It sounds like a really crappy horror film.
You just imagine. He's like, I don't know, and he's right. He wasn't so drunk that the coyotes were super loud that night. We sat out by the fire for a long time, and they got really super active, and they were calling to each other from all around us, so that was kind of freaky. And so we knew that the coyotes were active. The coyotes. But he comes in and he tells me that I said, "Well, what did you do when you heard it?" And he says, "I called back to it." So now you have to recreate that moment for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I'm like, right, go on.
Yeah, please do.
I went on YouTube and I listened for different calls, so I tried to mimic the calls. And one of the videos I found was this guy named Bobo who does all these Bigfoot hunts or whatever.
Bobo's been on Warehouse before.
He sounds like
all these weird calls into the hills, and I was getting little responses back.
It was your echo, I'm assuming.
Do it one more time.
If there was a Sam Squanch, that fucker Because like, what the hell was that?
To be fair, that sounds like the noise that a submarine makes before it dives.
That is not the noise of a Sasquatch.
Well, that was the actual noise. I can't remember what I did, but it's on the recorder.
We were out.
You did that.
There were not many people around us, but the nice European
Thank God.
was in a cabin close to us, and I can just imagine what they were thinking at midnight.
They were probably thinking Sasquatch is out there.
I doubt that.
They were thinking there's a drunk guy on the poultry pants, just in his underwear, going whoop 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 at nothing.
Pretty much.
It's
Whoop whoop.
whoop, whoop. Do the other one, because there's one like long call that you were doing. Like we literally had just got to the cabin, and he gets out on the porch and starts doing this, and I'm like, you're going to terrify everybody around you.
Fuck, you
Sounds
know.
like a wow.
I should know.
I had to stop him. I'm
Are you
like,
sure?
I understand
Oh
that
my god.
I understand that you're excited about your Sasquatch adventure.
You know, people say that, like, ghost hunters or paranormal investigators, etc., can't call themselves professionals.
This is why. This is the problem we have.
Of the scientific experiment that we do when we're out in the woods. And so you did your call. What did it do?
What? When I was in the middle of the night, when I was out there by myself in my underwear?
Yeah.
I heard a response. It wasn't right away, but I heard a response. And what I did
There was
was
probably people in the cabin over thinking, let's fuck this knob up.
Yeah, it was probably just someone else who was drunk, like in the distance.
Well, the weird thing was the coyotes stopped. They stopped before I did it. That's why I was like, what the heck, man? They just stopped, and I heard these weird noises. And I was like, I'm just going to call back. And then I never heard the coyotes again, so I put my phone down on video facing, like, towards the woods, and then I put a digital voice recorder out there, too, and I just went to bed. And I woke up at, like, 7 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, man, my phone's still outside. I hope it's still there. And I went out and got I just haven't really reviewed anything yet, so I know I heard something. You guys can say whatever, but I heard something in the woods.
I mean, okay,
Yeah, another
joking.
drunk person
No,
was
seriously,
wondering
seriously,
that.
babe, seriously.
Yeah, the drunk here next to
It
us.
was an echo, and the reason the coyotes didn't make a sound is because they were thinking, well, what the fuck is he on?
Joking,
what's
joking
happening?
joking aside, it does seem weird because all the coyotes shut up.
Wouldn't you shut up if there was a
Yeah, but
strange naked man in the wood going, whoop, whoop?
They did it before he started whooping in his underwear, though.
He's already naked, that's bad enough.
Yeah, but there's a big, hairy, naked man running around the woods anyway, so they should.
Technically, he's not full on naked, he's got hair. You're just with your pants, everything's out, it's cold, people can see it, there's people around you in the cabinet opposite, and there's you, basically, with your knob and balls out.
And so my
No, they were tucked.
immediate response was, why didn't you come wake me up when this happened? Because I would have obviously videotaped this entire thing.
You would have been mad and upset because you were tired.
No, I was tired, but if you're telling me that you are in the woods and you hear a response after we were hearing the coyotes and the coyotes stopped, I would have come out there and videoed it. I would have watched.
Well,
that was the whole point in us being out there, was to try to find something.
Well,
Exactly, if Bigfoot's coming and, like, wake her up.
Right.
I wouldn't be mad.
I'm not going
but
to be
sometimes
angry.
you don't have time because Bigfoot just comes in and out. You ever seen all the pictures of them? They're boring.
Well, he's,
I could throw an innuendo right out there.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same thing.
he is the hide and seek champion.
I hope that when he just comes in and out, he uses protection.
That's how all the babies sand squanches happen. So that was our first.
Well, before, like, we had a lot more stuff happen. I recorded these weird things. Like, I found what could be, I'm saving it for our podcast. But we saw some other weird signs and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it was a cool
I mean,
experience.
I have heard that Ohio probably has one of the highest rates in Sam Squanch sightings. Am
I
right
love
in
the
saying
fact
that?
we're all saying Sam Squanch.
It's true. And if you go, I mean, if you're not familiar with the area, it is very beautiful, and there are parts that are very remote. So it makes you realize there could be something out there that we have yet to, I guess, make official contact with. So many caves, systems, and things of that nature that if anything really wanted to hide, it could probably hide from you. And so, yeah, I don't think it'll be our last.
No, it's not going to be our last.
No,
I can't wait to come over and go Bigfoot hunting with you. That's going to be hilarious.
That'll be the first thing that we do. We're going to take you to Hocking Hills, and actually, so the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Conference is the end of September, and I really want to go back because I want to get out in the woods at night with some of these people who actually know what they're doing instead of Shay in his underwear on our porch.
No, but see, that's the thing. There's a guy that I made connections with, and his name's Thomas Shay, and he's a Bigfoot researcher. He's no relation. He's got the same last name. I was like, oh, this guy's got the same last name, and he's a Bigfoot.
Yeah, but I bet he don't sit out there in his underwear going whoop whoop.
Might. You never know. He might, but
No.
He's getting in touch with nature.
No one does that by
He's
you.
getting in touch with nature. Who keeps doing angry faces? I hope that's done by accident, or else I'm going to block you. I'm going to lay down the law and block you.
Do we have angry?
Oh, everyone's doing angry faces now. Sorry, I got over emotional. Sorry. So
Nobody needs to be angry about Sam Squanch.
people are taking the piss now. Right, let's move on from.
I'm the one who's doing the angry.
Oh, you bitch! Right, let's move on from talking about Bigfoot, and I mean, you've already touched upon it. We've not really spoken about it on the show before, mainly because we've not had both of you at the same time on. So, tell us more about Serial Spirits, your podcast.
Sure. So we started Serial Spirits last fall, I think, and it was kind of because we wanted. Shay's done podcasting for years. I had never officially done podcasting. I had always just done live radio, and so we started Serial Spirits to make this kind of combination of paranormal, cryptids, true crime, everything that we love all meshed together.
You guys remember Unsolved Mysteries from the 80s and 90s? That's what we wanted it to be like.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you mean.
Did Unsolved Mysteries, was that a thing in the UK?
Yeah.
It still airs
Yeah.
on like channels that grannies watch.
Okay.
So basically
perfect.
we
like
watch
the
it.
ones that I watch over here. So that's what, and when we record, I have a Robert Stack trench coat like that I wear, because he was my favorite of all time. But no,
even though it's only audio.
Yes, absolutely.
It just gets you into into character, I suppose.
Yeah, you got to be in character. And we started doing just some of our favorite stories. And the first, podcasting is not easy, number one. I'll say that. You've really got to find your groove with it. And people kept telling us, give it 10 or 15 episodes. You'll find your groove. You'll get your equipment and your audio right. And so it took us a little bit. So the first 10 episodes that we did, you can hear on, is it Spreaker? SoundCloud. See, I don't even remember. He does all that kind of stuff. So the first 10 episodes, you can hear on SoundCloud. We talked about Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer. We talked about our visit to the TNT bunkers to see Mothman during the Mothman Festival. And so now we are on, it's aired weekly on Paranormal Warehouse, iTunes, and SoundCloud. And we've got some good stories that we've covered lately.
We did a whole series of down here in West Virginia, a girl who went missing that Annie went to college with, and we did a whole series on that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so we just finished up with that, and we've released an episode since then. And we started doing these things weekly because it's hard to put an episode out every week. It's hard to get it edited, recorded, do the research. So what we started doing in between was what we call the serial snippet, which is like a condensed version of an episode. And normally it's like an interview episode. We'll bring people on, we'll talk about true crime, we'll talk about paranormal stuff. And so we'll release those in between our full episodes just to keep the content rolling. And, I mean, it's just, we keep finding all these new stories, we keep making contacts with all these people, and it's been awesome. And like Andy said, podcasting's not easy. I have a group of friends that I, can go to for advice on stuff. And one of those guys is he does a podcast called the Unbelievers Podcast, which I've helped co-host on quite a few times. And it was a spin-off of my all-time favorite podcast called the Unbelievable Podcast. And that podcast really was the main reason why I got into podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, one of the hosts, Rob Oakey, he does a lot of the production for the show. So he's a big help when it comes to like, man, I need to do this. How do you make it sound like this or whatever? Because he does a lot of that for a living. And so he's been a great help and a great guy to lean on when it comes to trying to figure out how to do some of this stuff. So
this week's episode is really good, and it's actually the last article that I wrote for Living Paranormal magazine. So we give LPN a big shout out in this one, and I covered the story of a serial killer named Gary Heidnick, which I believe, if Alex told me correctly, was the first story that he had to put a content warning on.
Was that that was the Buffalo Bill based character, wasn't it? Or was that
Yeah, and he's pretty messed up, dude. So yeah, that's coming out on that. We'll probably have that out on Wednesday. It just got finished in the editing floor, so
the baby's moving around. I gotta get comfortable. Hold on.
I'm doing exactly the same.
Yeah, me too.
Way up in my gut today.
not me.
I just quickly say something. For some reason, in case people don't know this, when we broadcast, we record from Skype. For some reason, Skype keeps zooming in and out on Annie and Brendan. I don't know why it's doing it. It's doing it by itself, even though I keep telling it not to. So I do apologise for that, but you're going to have to put up with that happening. I can't do anything about it.
Get really up close and personal with Shay's nose hair, and then it backs off. It's that's enough. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe that's why it's doing it, because they know it's weed.
It's exactly right.
Whatever.
But yeah, so I don't know why it's doing that. I give up. Right, so what was the guy's? I never been able to pronounce the guy's last name.
Gary Heidnick, the one from the magazine article.
Yeah. So basically, to keep a long story short, the character Buffalo Bill, or whatever his name is, from Silence of the Lambs, his character was sort of based on Gary.
Yeah, Gary was he was a schizophrenic who was from an area around Cleveland, Ohio.
Shocker, from Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio people are kind of crazy, and the Cleveland area can be pretty sketch. And so he was abducting these women who were prostitutes and mentally disabled, and basically keeping them in his basement and doing some really, really unbelievably crazy, terrible things. And so the article that I laid out for Living Paranormal is basically what we read for the podcast this week.
Yeah. I did put a graphic content warning on there. So, yeah.
A lot of crime. It gets really disgusting. I won't go into any more of it there, but if you guys
have to listen.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear it, it'll be available Wednesday on Paranormal Warehouse and iTunes.
Yes, so guys, definitely check that out, because I can guarantee you, although horrible, Gary, like I said, I'm not pronouncing his last name, Gary is a very, for the wrong reasons, a very interesting person to read about. And what he got up to. And it gets a bit strange as well, because one of his victims who survived, people, I'm right in saying people thought that she was in on it or something.
Right.
So
That was one of these. She had kind of been, what do they call it when people are
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, basically. This was a woman who was mentally disabled. She lived kind of on the streets as a prostitute, and so that was. I think she did suffer from Stockholm syndrome, and she did it to save herself as well, because she knew that if she complied with what he asked her to do, that he probably would not torture and kill her. And she was right. Yeah. She survived. So,
just so you know, guys, if Helena has to stand up at all, it's because she has reached her 3rd trimester in her pregnancy, and she's uncomfortable. So yes.
He's kicking me in the diaphragm and he won't stop it.
Me in a really weird place today when I was trying to take a nap, and I can't say it on here, but he
oh, you felt it in that area, did you?
Did he kick you in your vajay, Jay?
He kicked me. He was way down in something.
In your West Virginia.
I didn't even know it was humanly possible to get kicked in the minge from inside.
True. It's so true. Pregnancy is the weirdest. We talk about some weird stuff on Paranormal Warehouse. Pregnancy will be the strangest thing you ever talk about.
I don't know why people say, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, you love it. You should love it. Oh, you're glowing. Glowing means sweaty, and beautiful means I'm in pain because he keeps kicking me in the minge. It's not beautiful. It's a lie.
It's very taxing. It's difficult, and I'm not nearly far as long as you are. I'm halfway there, 20 weeks.
I have like 12 weeks left, like just over 12 weeks left.
I think it's funny.
People don't want to hear about pregnancy.
I think it's funny how.
If you ever want the truth from people that ain't going to tell you, oh, it's beautiful, you'll love it. Just ask me and Annie. Oh, and Ashley.
I think it's funny how, like basically you, Annie, and Ashley all found out. All became pregnant basically around the same time. It just seems really weird to me.
I'll be the last to give birth because, Elena, you're due November, Ashley's due December, I'm due the very 1st of January.
There must be some kind of prophecy.
Melissa gets it. Melissa says pregnancy is not beautiful. It's as close to death as she ever wanted to be.
There must be some kind of prophecy. I'm gonna have to look into like some Bible shit and find out if there's some sort of weird
the unholy trio.
Yeah, because I mean it's just literally a month apart. That's all it is. Or what, you know.
If you look through like old Mayan text, I'm pretty sure that this is how it all ends with the 3 of ours together. Especially if this one is a boy. If I complete the trifecta, like we've talked about, I don't know how you want to do that there.
Trifecta of weenies.
The trifecta of weenies is what we've officially named it.
Alright, Shay, that's a good band name. Write that down.
Trifecta of weenies. If it's not the trifecta of weenies, then Bowie and Oliver gets a sword fight over the hand of our daughter in marriage.
Like, Bowie's already gonna win. Come on, bitch.
She says Bowie, hands down. So we find out Wednesday though.
Right.
Wednesday's officially baby day, and we will know.
Because Shay.
Bowie will win because his nuts are massive.
Hang on. Because Shay has turned his hat around and he looks cool. I'm gonna turn my hat around as well. You probably can't tell the difference. That's because my hat is round.
It's round.
But just going back to the pregnancy thing, we found out that we were going to have a baby basically the exact same week that Daryl found out that he was auditioning for this show.
Ghost Hunters, I'm sending you this because we had to flee our home. Several of us have gotten locked in the lighthouse. We've had sightings of the shadow figure.
I heard a man running up the stairs.
And let's figure out what the heck's going on here.
Is someone in here with us?
Let's come closer.
I'm here to help you.
We're not looking for ghosts. We're looking for the truth.
The Phenomenon returns. Ghost Hunters premieres August 21st on A&E.
So, yeah, don't forget, guys, only 3 days now until Daryl makes his debut in Ghost
I ain't
Hunters.
watching it.
Well, we can't watch it. We're in the UK. We can't watch it.
Oh, yeah.
But don't forget to watch the...
UK?
No, well, A&E don't have like an official channel over here. They own various channels, like True Crime Investigations is a channel that they own, the History Channel, and some other ones. So I mean, it will come over here. There's no doubt about that. The Ghost Hunters will eventually come over here, but it probably won't be till next year.
I know, when everyone's already seen it and it's done.
I think I think I can give you guys my TV login. Maybe you can watch it like in an app.
It's like, no, I'll find it on one of these websites that funds terrorism. Don't worry. So.
We'll watch Daryl and support weaponism somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I've got to watch my bearded Swayze, so.
He is bearded Swayze.
He is bearded Swayze.
What he's calling him today. What did you?
I called him
Bearded Stallion.
the bearded stallion. That's what I called him. Bearded
Hey,
stallion.
bearded Patrick Swayze.
Bearded Patrick's all. I'm so excited for Daryl. I'm so proud. It literally couldn't have happened to a better person.
That's what I said to Andy the other day. It's like you started out in this field years ago, and you saw these guys on TV, and you're like, oh yeah, guys on TV. Now you see all your friends on TV, and it's like, oh.
It's weird.
It's
like I've interviewed countless paranormal
Well, I'll move
people.
in and I'll be back.
Okay, I've interviewed, and as well as you guys and plenty of other people in Paranormal Warehouse, we have interviewed countless people that are on, and Helena has disappeared.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
Right, okay.
It's okay.
I'm gonna have to just change. I'm gonna have to just edit this quickly because she's gone.
No, I'm here. I said I'm turning the camera off because I'm moving and it's not graceful.
You could have just put the camera down because it screwed everything up.
I did it.
Tuck and roll.
But basically, right, as I was saying, we have interviewed countless people that are on some sort of TV show or whatever. But this is the first time when we have. I mean, at least one of them is, someone that we're friends with. I mean, I know plenty of people that know Brandon and Brian as pure example. But it feels weird, and I don't think when Daryl was going through the process of everything, I don't think he or I realised how big a deal it actually is going to be.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, it's gigantic, and he's working with one of the most well-known guys in the field, Grant, and like it's huge. It's incredible, and like Andy said, like I'm super proud to be like, yeah, there's Daryl, man. That's awesome. I'm so happy for him. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, just keep talking because I'm just sorting
Are
out.
you still trying to do with your feet? No,
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
It went back there. Oh, we're going back and forth. It's okay. No, we had to get the pregnancy moved. So, but yeah, we're super excited for him. We can't wait to watch it. I think it's Wednesday night on A&E. Ghost Hunters premiere.
Yeah, their first official show is at 9 p.m. but before that they have like a get to know the new Ghost Hunters kind of thing. So that would be fun to watch. And also tomorrow after 8 a.m. I'm assuming Eastern Standard Time, they will be on Good Morning America as well. So again, I'm going to see if there's a way I can watch it. I might have to get someone to FaceTime me.
We can FaceTime you. I'll be at work. We can probably find it somewhere. That's awesome. That's incredible. We're so excited for them. I think we know a couple of places that they've shot. We've heard some rumors, and so I can't wait to see everything that they've done and just see how they progress as this new team. Because you look at it like Ghost Hunters, and I know I've said this before on my show and on Serial Spirits, Ghost Hunters was like the very first show in America that you could watch paranormal investigations. They were the very first. They really broke into this field, and they aired for what, 10 years?
11, I think it was 11 seasons they did.
Yeah. So they went on for years.
Till 2016, I think.
Ghost Hunters International, which, Ashley was a part of. And so you got to know these people on a personal level, and it made it more acceptable to do what we did, because it's not like you have to sit around and read your ghost hunting books in secret anymore, like I did when I was a kid. I'm the weird kid combing through the library, that one section that nobody ever goes into, and you're like dusting off all these books that are about ghosts. Yeah, it just made it acceptable to do it, and you got to know Jason and Grant and Steve and Tangus, all those people that were on there, and I so hope that...
I mean, obviously I will be biased in saying this, but I think the reboot is going to be better than the original.
I think it's going to be...
Yeah. And I'm not just saying that because Daryl, who he's my colleague and friend who founded the American Ghost Hunter show, who I now am ruining for him.
We're keeping it real though.
Oh yeah, we got there's still Americans on the show, but yeah, I'm English. Deal with it. But yeah, I could seem biased because of that reason. But they're putting from talking to Daryl and the other members of the team, from watching interviews, from seeing the various trailers or previews or whatever you want to call them on YouTube or TV, you can tell that they're putting a lot into it and they're going to make it a really big show. And since the original Ghost Hunters Pilgrim, the production company has come a very long way. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch, and I think it's going to be really good. And it's going to be proper paranormal investigation as well, because a lot of people complain that I've noticed people saying, "Oh, I hope they're going to be doing residential cases and helping people and stuff like that," and they actually are this time around. They're not going to all these locations that you see all the time, like Waverly Hills or Bobby Mackey's or Penhurst or whatever. They're actually going to like residential houses, businesses, and okay, they've got the odd location outside of those, but they are focusing on those things to help people, and it is proper paranormal investigation. It's not running around shouting, "Oh, there's a demon," every 5 minutes. So
that's true.
And I have said to Daryl, you're not allowed to take pictures with your arms crossed, and you're not allowed to use the D word. And if you look, Daryl, there's not many pictures of Daryl crossing his arms, and I'm pretty sure there isn't actually one of him crossing his arms, because he knows if he does a picture of himself crossing his arms, I will take the piss.
You're going to get angry about it. No.
That if he does it, that's his career over, because we will mock him for it.
It's the end of friendship. It's the end of our family as we know it. No, and I agree with that 100%. I think that everyone involved in this reboot there's a lot of integrity in this group, and I don't think that any of them, at least the ones that I know, would have stepped into this project if they thought it was anything less than that. I know Daryl wouldn't have. I know, absolutely. And so I think that's very important. It's bringing it back, like you said. How many paranormal shows are on TV right now? It gets overwhelming to watch some of the stuff that's on there, because there's not a lot of it that's been worth watching.
I mean,
lately.
obviously, I mean, no disrespect, and I'm not referring to any shows in particular, but there have been times when a show has gone on TV and we used to be funny. I used to laugh and watch them, and now it's to the point where it's too painful.
Right.
So I just walk out of the room.
Like Annie said in the beginning,
I still laugh when I watch them.
when Ghost Hunters originally came out, it was like, something new, it was something fresh, and I think this reboot is going to be the same thing. It's going to be a breath of fresh air for paranormal fans, who like this kind of thing, because it's going to be a little bit different than a lot of the shows that are on. And I think it's going to be more scientific, and that was one of the main reasons I watched the show, because they took that scientific approach to all these places they went, and they tried to first debunk it instead of being like, oh, there's demons here right away, you know what I mean? And they did that. They took the science, but they also took the construction aspects of places, the electrical aspects of places.
And apparently that's what Daryl's doing.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you see people that have integrity like that, and they're put in those positions, it makes you realize that this is a project that's worth backing, basically. And I think that's why all of us want so badly to see them do so well, because not just because we know them, but because we believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I shouldn't have moved. I've ruined my camera.
And I've always been a big fan of being, of residential cases, going in there trying to debunk and disprove a lot of things. And I've had a lot of experience doing it. And I can say probably 80% of places I've been, I found nothing. I was able to disprove stuff. And, I mean, that's what's great about what I did.
I mean, one thing that they do have that, people like us don't have is, the actual paranormal investigators of Ghost Hunters, the TV show, like Daryl, Brandon, Grant, etc. They don't have to go out and find these locations. They have a whole team of producers and stuff from Pilgrim that do all that work for them. So all they need to do is turn up to investigate it, which takes a lot of the stress out of it. But they still, and a lot of people probably don't realise this, they do all the investigating, and then they still take away the evidence and review it. So, like, Daryl has been sitting in his hotel room with a laptop with the footage that they've got, with the audio that they've got, and reviewing it. So they're constantly working.
It's not like they're just leaving these projects when they leave. They're still doing some of the work. They're still listening to 7 hours of Shay in his underwear looking for Bigfoot. He was one of the Three Stooges. Do you remember the show The Three Stooges?
Yeah, I know.
Kind of like Zoidberg from Futurama as well.
You know what? I should send my Bigfoot audio to Daryl and be like, "Hey, can you review this?"
No, he'll just listen to it and go. He'll just listen to it and go, "Dad." I'm still disappointed though, because because there's so many people now that I'm friends with, and because big beards are kind of like a fashion thing these days. I wanted people like, these people, Johnny Hauser, Josh Bender, and Daryl, to form their own paranormal group and call themselves Viking Paranormal.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah, but it's too late now because Daryl's under contract to do Ghost Hunters, so it's never going to happen.
Daryl's ruined it.
Man,
but yeah.
Man.
I've had I think Josh was on my show. Hauser's been on my show, and their beards are phenomenal. And so,
in fact, Josh just won a competition for best beard.
What I would like to do is actually take some of those the bearded, very bearded paranormal people out into the forest with us when we're looking for Sam Squanch, because I feel like maybe that would draw one of them in.
Yeah, probably. What's that show called? Because I think it's on the Travel Channel. like mountain monsters or something?
Monsters. They are actually, so the Mountain Monsters is very close to here. They're in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And so they are going to be at, CryptidCon. My friends Lee and Jennifer Kirkland and Jeff Waldridge put on a paranormal con called CryptidCon, and it's the first weekend of September in Kentucky, and they are going to be there. And I want to go. I mean, there are going to be a lot of people there that I want to meet. The lady that I had on my show a couple weeks ago, that talked about the alien encounter,
Kentucky Goblin.
the Kentucky Goblin. She's going to be there as well. The Mountain Monsters are going to be there. And Shay, there's one of them named Huckleberry that Shay really wants to meet.
No, I don't want to meet.
You want to meet Huckleberry.
They're very interesting guys, because I think they have so if not all of them, some of them have a Native American background, so that's quite interesting.
If you watch the show at all, they actually kind of bring some of their Native American heritage into some of the cryptids that they look for, which I think is a very valid point. Whether or not they are doing some of the show, it's some of it could be a little scripted, but they talk about they talk about the Native American heritage, but I think when you're looking at these cryptids, a lot of them could be related to Native American heritage.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want a comedic take on it, though, you need to listen to the Unbelievers podcast, because they do a few episodes where they clip, the show, they talk about it, give their insight on it, and it's hilarious because, some of the clips that they get from this show. I mean, these guys are funny. Like the Mountain Monsters, they're funny. They say some funny stuff, and the Unbelievers podcast finds the right clips to play and talking about them. And it's just it's hilarious.
Definitely have to look that up.
We haven't decided yet if we're going to CryptidCon. We might, but if we go, we definitely have to meet the Mountain Monsters.
If we go, we'll be doing 3 cons in 1 month. We'll be doing CryptidCon. We got Mothman Festival, and then the weekend after that, we got the Hocking Hills
Bigfoot Conference. We're going all cryptid this fall. Like the month of September and not October, but the month of September is all about cryptids for us.
Sounds awesome. So I'm trying to think if we have any cryptids in the UK, and all I can only think of something called Black Shark.
We do actually have a version of Bigfoot.
Do we?
He's called the Woodsman. Apparently he's a hairy dude that eats children.
Oh.
That he eats children? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Sounds like a pedophile.
It sounds, It sounds like a pedophile completely, 100%.
It's Shay in his pants in the woods.
With his beard shaved.
Or it's Alex rolling around like...
Now.
He's just generally a Bigfoot.
I never leave the house.
Well, Scotland has the Loch Ness Monster, right? So.
Oh yeah, I forgot
that. Europe has some.
Ireland's got fairies, leprechauns.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Banshee, I totally believe. Fairies and leprechauns, I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah,
I saw somewhere, this whole storming Area 51 thing. I saw somewhere that people were like, we're going to storm the Loch Ness. And like saying the Loch Ness Monster can't hide from all of us. Or something. I swear I saw that. But I don't know if that was satire or not. Cause I didn't look into it.
I feel like Nessie has a better chance because if you're talking about our underwater ally, there's a movie called Napoleon Dynamite. And if you've never watched it, you need to watch it because he refers to the Loch Ness Monster as Nessie, his underwater ally. So I feel like our underwater ally would probably be able to hide from us. But I would love to look for that kind of stuff too.
You never know, we might go up to Scotland and,
There's not a place to stay.
The thing about Scotland is they will deep fry anything. Like, I think I've said this before on the show. Like, if you asked them to, they would deep fry your gran.
Really? So, why do they do that? Why?
Because they're weird.
They're not weird. They're not weird. They're just unhealthy.
My brother's Scottish. Actually, all three of my brothers are Scottish. If I want to say they're weird, I'm saying.
They're half Scottish.
Jamie lives in Scotland, and even he'll say they're weird.
That weird roll on the phone.
That's like this out here, though. We deep fry everything. Like Oreos and Twinkies and all kinds of stuff that, like...
Twinkies are ranking themselves, right?
Yeah,
you don't need to deep fry to make them any more gross.
I've tried a Twinkie, and I don't get what the fuss is, personally.
I hate Twinkies, man. They're gross.
Thank you. I thought all Americans loved them.
I hate them.
No, I think they're overrated.
Okay, guys, so we're coming to the end of our regular show, but we're going to take a 10-minute break, and if you have paid to support Paranormal Warehouse or subscribe to Paranormal Warehouse, then in just around 10 minutes time, we're going to do something very special. We are going to do the paranormal dating game. Which is basically me asking Brendan questions about Annie and
stop saying Brendan.
Shay.
Brendan.
I'm saying Brendan because that's his official name.
No, his name's Shay. Who the fuck's Brendan? I keep saying this to you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask Shay questions about Annie, and they're gonna write them down on a piece of paper and hold them up, and we're gonna see how many they get right.
The paranormal dating game.
And then the winner gets a garden rake.
Amazing.
It's a what?
A garden rake. So you can rake leaves.
Oh, I need one.
And start whooping.
And it's fall soon. You're gonna need a rake.
We're going to.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially here.
So
we got a lot of leaves.
Before we go,
you've already got one. It's due next year.
Exactly right.
Behave before we go.
I'm allowed to say that. She's my sister.
Before we go, Annie, who is on your show this week?
This week, Tuesday on Weeds is going to be demonologist James Anito. James is great.
Yeah.
He's it's his first time coming on the show. So Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, come on with James Anito. Got some great guests coming on for the next few weeks. It's gonna be some good tuning in if you guys haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, James is a good guy. I like James. And I love his accent. He's got such a Boston accent. Love it.
Yeah.
He was before we came over to Paranormal Warehouse, we were on K-Core. He was our first guest on the American Ghost Hunter show, and we did this thing where it was Alex's useless knowledge, and I remember it. I remember to this day, and it was that female kangaroos, have 2 vaginas. Really.
How does that work?
I don't know. You'd have to ask one. So.
Oh, and before we go, real quickly, Melissa Grubbs, who is always in our chat, want to say hi to her, and I'm doing her podcast tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Time.
Of course, I know Melissa Grubbs. Everyone knows Melissa Grubbs. So yeah, guys, don't forget to watch that, and thank you to all our regular viewers for tuning in. And yes, so in 10 minutes time we'll be doing this subscription content. If you want to be able to watch it, if you want to subscribe to Paranormal Warehouse, it's very easy to do so, and it's like nothing in terms of cost. Well, it is something. It's like $5, I think. So on the Paranormal Warehouse Facebook page, click Become a Supporter. It should be something like that. It's in a blue box at the top of the page. Click that, and then you'll be able to watch special content that is only available to our subscribers. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Next week, the American Ghost Hunter show will be back on Sunday with Mustafa from from Ghost Hunters. I know, Mustafa. What's his name? Is his name Mustafa?
Mufasa.
Mufasa. Okay.
That's
Well,
another thing.
Mustafa from the Ghost Hunters on the new reboot will be on the show. He is the official historian. He is a nutcase, so you're going to want to watch that show. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Unless you're a subscriber, we'll see you in 10 minutes. Ciao.